Hello and welcome to the Boca Raton Regional Hospital Emergency Room Volunteer Training video. Today you will be learning various policies and procedures. This video is designed to serve as a refresher and is to be used in conjunction with your regular one-on-one training that you receive. We hope you find it informative. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Good morning. This is going to be a review of what you've already done and what you've been doing for quite some time. It's just a little reminder of how we clean the rooms, which is one of our basic responsibilities in the ER. The other things we're going to be covering today are the Pyxis and the cabinets, then some general items that you should remember. What do we do first when we come across a room that's been used and the patient has left? This is pretty much a worst case scenario. Not all the rooms are dirty like this, but what I want to do is show you what you can expect. First thing we do when we come across a room, we want to wash up. We want to wash when we go in and we want to wash when we leave, especially when there's a patient in there. But it's a good habit to get into. So the first thing we'll do is wash our hands. Then, whatever you do, always wear gloves when you're in a room. If you're going to be cleaning it, we have gloves in all sizes. You can keep a couple of extra pair in your pocket. This way, if you're walking in the hall and you find something that has to be picked up, you can put on the gloves and pick it up. But generally speaking, we do not wear gloves in the hallways. We only wear gloves when we're in a room with a patient. Okay, what do we do first? First thing we do is we want to clean off the bed and we want to take the linen and put them in the proper places. So we'll carefully go through the linen to make sure that nothing important is being thrown out, like the TV remotes. We'll put this aside and we'll clean it later. We also want to make sure that the leads for the monitors are not among the linens because we don't want to throw those out. So we'll check to make sure there's nothing here. We'll take the linen and throw it into the soiled linen containers, which are all over the ER. The pillows that are on the bed are one-use pillows. They're disposable. After removing the pillowcase, throw them away. All items that have been opened are disposed of. Here we have what looks like a clean basin. However, we don't know whether it's been used, whether it's been sneezed on or coughed on. We're not going to assume it's clean. We're going to assume it's dirty, and we're going to throw it away. We're also going to take anything that's on the floor and throw them away. When we come to the table, we want to be very careful how we clean up the items. We don't want to just grab because we want to make sure that there's nothing dangerous on the tables. So we carefully go through everything. Anything that is unopened can be reused. These items can be reused, and we'll put them away. If we have an open box of Kleenex, we're going to assume that this is dirty also, and we're going to throw it away. If you do come across sharps, make sure they go into the sharp containers. An unused ice pack can be put away. Unused surgical lubricant can be put away. And anything else that we see is disposed of in the brown containers. If you find a thermometer in the room, this will be returned to the nurse's station when you're finished, as will any other unopened items that can be reused. When the techs or nurses draw blood, usually they draw extra tubes of blood. This way, if they need additional samples, you don't have to stick the patient again. If you find blood containers that have been used, they are disposed of in red bags. Red bags are kept in the cabinets, and we use them for blood and blood-saturated items. When you find one of these in the room, they go into the red bag, and the red bags are disposed of in the area where we keep biohazard material. Okay, once you've cleaned up everything on the floor, we're going to clean the room and make the bed. One other point of information: if you do come across a room where there's vomit on the floor, or urine, or blood on the floor, we do not have to clean that up. We have environmental services. Those people will come in and they will clean up the room before you make it up. We want to make sure that the floor and everything surrounding the area is clean before we do the beds. Okay? Next, we're going to use the wipes that are here. And we'll start by cleaning the table. This way, anything that's clean can be put on the table. We also want to make sure we get the little handle, which raises and lowers the bedside table. Then we're going to do the chairs. And fold them up, give ourselves a little more room to work with. And we start cleaning the bed. We'll do the rails. The release for the handrails are the yellow bar on the side. And what we want to do when we do a room is to wipe down anything the patient could have touched. We also want to wipe down the handles. This way, if a patient is being taken to another area in the hospital, the handles are clean because gloves are never worn in the hallways. If you find a nasal cannula that's attached, that's been used, we just take it off and dispose of it. The same thing holds true for any used IV bags. They'll be hanging on the pole. We just take it from the pole and dispose of it in the brown containers. We also want to make sure that the TV remote has been wiped down. And that can be placed anywhere in the room. And we want to make sure that the leads are wiped down. Specifically, make sure you clean the pulse ox, which goes on the patient's finger, and the chest leads, and the blood pressure cuff. And we just hang it on the monitor so it's ready for the next patient. We also want to wipe down the call button. If you accidentally press help, just hit cancel and it'll turn it off. When we finish wiping down the room and everything that the patient could have touched, it's important to remember that we change gloves so we don't contaminate the clean items that we're going to put on the bed and into the room. The clean linen is often kept in the cabinets. If you don't find any linen in the cabinets, we have green linen carts that are kept all around the emergency room. We take a clean sheet out. Well, as you can see, this sheet that we took out of the cabinet, even though it has been laundered, is stained. If we come across a sheet like this, we just put it back into the soiled linen container and we get another sheet out of the cabinet. Make sure there's enough at the top so when the bed is raised up, the sheets don't fall down. Every bed gets a blanket and a gown. And when you finish cleaning the room and you finish putting everything away, these will be put back in the cabinets inside. Gloves off and wash up again. You don't want to bring anything from one room to another, so if you're doing another room, after you complete this one, you want to wash up and put on fresh gloves. We are now in the Pyxis room. We call it the Pyxis room because that's the name of the computer system. It's either called Pyxis or the supply room. What we do here is we load up our supply carts and then we go from room to room and we make sure that all the cabinets have the appropriate items so that when the techs and the nurses and the doctors need something, they don't have to go searching around for it. This is our second most important responsibility after making sure that the rooms are kept clean. What are we looking for? Okay, we have a list which we go by, and these are the minimum number of items that go in each cabinet. Okay, where are they? The first item on the list are large pink basins, and those are over here. And in Pyxis, they're kept over here. Then we have large bed pans over here. They're kept down the bottom. Fracture bed pans, which are these, and they're kept over here. Then we have Emmaus basins, which are the kidney-shaped basins, and they're kept in this area here. We have male urinals over here, and they're kept in that Pyxis down at the bottom in the brown carton. After that, we have chucks or underpads. These are items that go on top of the sheet. One half is plastic, the other side is absorbent. It keeps a person from leaking through to the mattress. They're kept in the top of that Pyxis over there. Then we have blue diapers, which are the larger of the items, the blue items, they have a yellow stripe on them, and they're kept in this area here. Next on the list are disposable washcloths. We keep those up here. Kleenex are over here. And the next item are the wipes for the rooms. We have these here. These are the only items we don't keep in here because there's no room for them. We keep these in our break area in cartons. After that, we have small, medium, and large gloves, which are kept in the end. We have the white gloves and we have the blue gloves. After that are the personal belonging bags, which we give a patient to keep their personal property in after they are getting into a gown. Those are kept down at the bottom here. Then we have yellow socks and brown socks. Brown socks are for everybody except patients who are at risk of falling. If they're a fall risk, they get yellow socks. This way we know that they shouldn't be getting out of bed on their own. After that, we have electrodes. The electrodes are the items that go on a person's chest, and they're hooked up to the heart monitors with those. We stock those in the rooms. Then we have suction inserts. Every room has a suction container. If the suction insert that you replace in the room contains blood, we're to put a bottle of solidifier into it. We keep these in the cabinets also. It's poured into the container, and then this is placed in a red bag, and the red bag goes into the biohazard area. After that, we have chemical ice packs. Midstream urine bottles for urine samples. Nasal cannulas and oxygen masks that go into each room. And baby wipes. And last but not least, Band-Aids. These are the items that we put on the carts, and from here we go from room to room and we put each item in the cabinets so they're available for the nurses and the techs. It's very important that we let Central Supply know what we have in the Pyxis system and what we don't have in the Pyxis system. How do we do that? Very simple. When we take an item from Pyxis, we have a take button and we have a return button. If we don't press the buttons properly, Central Supply won't know what we need. So if we take 2 packs of disposable washcloths, we click the take button twice. This lets Central Supply know that we took 2 and we have 18 left. If we put the items back, if we replace them, we also have to let Central Supply know that we put them back by pushing the return button. Now it shows that we took none and we have 20 left. This way, when it gets down to whatever number they know to replace the items with, they will come and they'll bring more for us. The Pyxis system will close by itself after a minute or 2 of not being used, or when we're finished, push exit and it closes and locks itself. It's important to do that because when you sign into the Pyxis system, your name appears on here, and anything you take, you're responsible for. Okay, when I'm doing the cabinets with the various items, I start in this area over here, and I work my way around and end up by room number 22. The reason I do that is because there's another door to the Pyxis room on the other side, and that's about halfway. So if I need more supplies for the cart, I'll reload the cart about halfway through on the other side. We want to make sure that each cabinet has the appropriate number of items as listed on the ER volunteer cabinet refill list. We want to make sure that each cabinet has at least 3 large basins. It could have more than that's on the list, but we want to make sure there's always a minimum amount. So we have at least 3 large basins. We have at least 2 fracture bedpans and 3 large bedpans. We have 20 Emmis basins. There are urinals down at the bottom. We have denture cups, and the denture cups are used not only to put dentures in, but patients put hearing aids in them, jewelry, whatever else they want to secure. We have chucks, we have blue diapers, disposable washcloths, Kleenex. We have small, medium, and large gloves in the blue, and we have medium and large in the white. We have personal belongings bags, 2 pair of brown socks and 2 pair of yellow socks. Electrodes are kept in here. Suction insert are behind the bed. Ice packs, midstream urine cups, and we have nasal cannulas and oxygen masks. We have baby wipes and Band-Aids. So the cabinets are complete, and we can move on to the next room.
Hello, my name is Manny again. I'm here now to review the stretcher with all the volunteers. Again, hello. What we have here is a stretcher. We have several different models of the stretcher, but pretty much they all do the same thing. Just the levers may be a little different on some of the models. On this particular stretcher, we have some foot levers here. The one in the middle lowers the stretcher, and the one off to the side will raise the stretcher. Now you're wondering why there are 2 levers in the middle here. I'm glad you asked. The one to the left of the lowering lever will just simply tilt. Let's raise it so we can see. This lever here will just slightly tilt the feet down. And this one will tilt the head down. At the front and the foot of the stretcher, we have the brakes, which will lock the stretcher. We have a neutral position when the lever is in the middle, which allows you to move the stretcher from left to right, front and back. Then the stretcher has a steer. When you step down on the right side of the foot pedal, now this allows you to push the stretcher in a straight line, not moving to the left and right as it would if it was in the neutral position. Most of our stretchers here have the IV pole attached to them, and simply raising the pole will give you the length that you need. To lower the pole, there's a small black lever here that you'll pull away from the pole, which will lower. And to rest the pole, you'll simply lift and lower. And to raise the pole, just lift and hear it click in place. Also, all our stretchers are equipped with side rails. There's a small lever that allows you to lower the side rail, and you'll hear it click in place when you raise it. Again, this lever is located here at the foot of the stretcher. On some of our newer stretchers, there's a lever in the front and there's one at the rear. Last thing I'd like to review is the headrest. There is a push bar underneath the mattress that, if you squeeze, will raise the headrest. And to lower the headrest, simply squeeze the bar and push down. That will lower the headrest. And these are the different gadgets and gadgets on our stretcher. Now that we've reviewed all the levers on the stretcher, I will simply just review with you how to transport the patients from the ER to the different testing areas in a safe manner. Again, we need our hall pass, which is the 24-hour handoff sheet, which has the label at the top, which gives you the patient's name, date of birth, and you will simply match that name and date of birth with the name and date of birth on the patient's armband. You always want to introduce yourself, letting the patient know who you are and where you're taking them. Once you've introduced yourself, you want to make sure the side rails are up whenever transporting a patient. The stretcher will be at its lowest point whenever the patient is stationed in their room. Now, this is not the proper height for me to transport the patient. So what I need to do is raise the stretcher up so that way I'm not bent over, but my back is in a upright position. So you want to raise the stretcher until it's proper height for you, ensuring that the patient is comfortable, ready for transport. The new stretchers in the ER, the handles are already up. This is an older model, so we just want to make sure the handles are up. That way we can transport our patients safe. You engage the steer button, which allows you, again, to move in a straight line. Once you arrive in the department, you want to lower the stretcher to its lowest point, ensuring that the brakes are on. Then you take the 24-hour handoff sheet, you hand it to the technician in the department, and the technician will come out, introduce themselves, and take over from there.
When you're transporting a patient and you're ready to exit the emergency room, even though the doors might be open, make sure you swipe your card again, just in case the doors are in the process of closing. This way, they will remain open and won't close on you. Lastly, when you reach this area here and you're taking the stretcher out of the ER, make sure that you check your mirrors to make sure that nobody is coming from either direction. This way we won't have any mid-course collisions. There are a few other items that I want you to be aware of and to remind you of. The hospital is very, very serious about HIPAA and confidentiality. There are going to be many, many occasions where you will see patients that you know from your community or other areas. Please assure them that you will never talk about their experience here with them or with anybody else outside of this hospital. Make sure that they are aware that you won't bring up their being here with anybody in the area, and that their confidentiality is extremely important. Next, make sure that you don't offer a patient anything to eat or drink without checking with the medical staff first. Most of the time, patients are not allowed to have food or drink. However, if they're waiting to go upstairs and they've been cleared by the medical staff, or they're waiting to be discharged to go home, the staff might feel that they could have something to eat or drink, and then they'll tell you what they are able to consume. Next thing we have to remember is never use your personal cell phone while you're in the ER. That's a no-no. If you have to make an emergency call, go into the break room and call from there. Next, we want to make sure that you don't wear heavy perfume or aftershave, which could be offensive to the patients. I want you also to remember that we only assist the patients under the supervision of the medical staff. We're never to do anything with a patient unless there is a nurse or a tech present and instructing us what to do.
In this video, you learned how to properly clean an ER room. You gained an awareness of Pyxis. You learned how to stock an ER cabinet, and you were given a reminder of the various policies and procedures that an ER volunteer must be aware of. We hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for all you do.